5 Israelis, including 4 police officers, are recovering this morning after what officials call a terror attack. Police say a Palestinian driver rammed his car into a crowd of people near a Jerusalem police station overnight.
A popular and outspoken critic of Russian President Vladimir Putin shot in the back, right out in the open, just blocks from the Kremlin.
The first video of the killing of the Russian opposition politician Boris Nemtsov has been released. The moment of the murder was caught on CCTV. At 11:30 p.m., moments before the murder, Boris Nemtsov and his female companion, a woman in a white coat there, are walking along the bridge. Then, just as this snowplow passes by, which obstructs the view of the pair, the murder apparently took place. At 11:31, you can see what's thought to be the killer fleeing, getting in a car parked several meters away and escaping the crime scene.
And Anthony Blackburn witnessed the shooting and was in Kyung's report. He joins us now. Since we don't have the body camera video, but I mean, you got it from the very beginning. Anthony, you were there. What did you see?
Well, I saw, what everybody saw in the video. The officer shot him with the taser once, and then shot him with the taser the second time. You can hear them pulling the trigger on the taser and electricity going through his body. And once he fell to the ground, and the officers, I thought they was going to just handcuff him. And once, I heard the officer scream and say, "He's going for my gun," and I just heard I just witnessed right there in front of my face the gunshots rang out.
The FBI has a man in custody this morning after 5 shootings over the past 2 weeks around the Washington-Baltimore area. The most recent happened last night near the National Security Agency at Fort Meade. One NSA building was damaged. 2 people were hurt earlier yesterday when bullets hit a truck. Other shootings happened at stores and a theater. Police released video footage of a suspicious Lincoln Town car seen in the area.
Explosions on hillsides, amphibious landings, combat troops storming beaches. U.S. and South Korean forces are practicing for war, military drills that are defensive in nature, a Pentagon official tells CNN. He allegedly helped a man travel to Syria to fight with ISIS, went online to connect the recruit to the terror group. The alleged recruiter, a 17-year-old boy in the suburbs of Washington. That's according to a law enforcement official. The Washington Post reports the boy lives in Woodbridge, Virginia. FBI agents raided the townhouse where the alleged recruiter lives, leading him outside in handcuffs, according to the Post. The FBI is not commenting. The boy is in custody and is charged as a juvenile. This follows other high-profile cases of young Americans being enticed to try to join ISIS. 2 men from the New York area, including a 19-year-old, picked up last month. A 19-year-old Somali American from Minneapolis, Hamza Ahmed, grabbed by federal agents at JFK Airport just before his plane was to leave for Turkey.
As Iraqi forces try to encircle Tikrit, they're being repelled in the city's outskirts by ISIS suicide bombers and roadside mines. The Iraqi troops are not a disciplined military, but instead a patched-together ragtag army made up of government soldiers, local tribesmen, and Shiite Muslim militias.
Iraqis have evidence U.S. arms Islamic State terrorists. Do we have that clip ready? Iraqi Prime Minister says he will release documents soon. The head of the Badr organization in Iraq told Parliament on Thursday he has evidence the U.S. is arming the Islamic Army, according to a report carried by the Arabic language newspaper. And it goes on from there. The organization was previously known as the Badr Brigades, the military wing of the Iran-based Shia Islamic Party Supreme Council for Islamic Revolution in Iraq. And those are the folks in there now with their artillery defeating ISIS. Iranian media and other sources have claimed on at least 2 occasions U.S. military aircraft dropped weapons in areas held by Islamic State. The Iraqi intelligence sources reiterated the U.S. military planes have airdropped several aid cargoes for ISIL terrorists to help them resist the siege laid by the Iraqi army, security, and popular forces, Iraqi intelligence claimed in December. And then it goes into now the London-based organization Conflict Arrangement Research previously reported that ISIS fighters are using significant quantities of arms, including M16 rifles, marked property of U.S. government. In June, Aaron Klein, writing for WorldNet Daily, reported that members of ISIS were trained in 2012 by U.S. instructors working at a secret base in Jordan, according to information from Jordanian officials. Kentucky Senator Rand Paul said last year ISIS was able to capture large areas of Iraq due to arms transfers from moderates, so-called, in Syria fighting a proxy war against the government of Bashar al-Assad.
They say, do you know what you have here? This is something that's only been hinted at in antiquity. For the first time ever, we're laying eyes on the actual Gospel of Judas.
Jesus wanted to be sacrificed. He asks Judas to betray him. And Judas says, why me? Jesus tells him, because you're the closest to me. I beg you to do it.
He understands what's happening. He's helping Jesus. He knows that because of what he has to do, he's going to be hated forever.
Judas is doing what Jesus wants him to do. Look, God sent Jesus to die for the sins of mankind. Someone has to betray him. Someone has to fulfill this mission.
A mystery at the end of the earth. Giant gaping holes in the ground appearing out of nowhere. It's happening in one of the most remote spots on the planet, in far northern Russia, Siberia's Yamal Peninsula. Translated, that's literally the end of the world. Now they count at least 7 large craters, some of them up to 100 meters across. 2 have turned into lakes, and one is just a few kilometers away from a major Gazprom natural gas field. Professor Vasily Bogoyevlensky and a team of experts have made several expeditions to Siberia, taking samples, gathering evidence, even braving sub-zero cold to climb down inside one of the deepest craters for a closer look. He suspects there are dozens more in the region and says they pose a serious threat.
About people with biases and try to get over them. This is called Love Has No Labels. It's done by the Ad Council. Look at it. It doesn't matter what your gender, skin color, religion, disability, that we all work to overcome our biases.
The video is kind of interesting. There you go. Some of the video is kind of interesting.
We're all
you can never guess. So if you're looking on the other side of that, you don't.
The New England Patriots, San Francisco Giants, and Tampa Bay Rays all signed an amicus brief submitted to the Supreme Court Thursday in support of same-sex marriage. The brief was signed by 379 employers and organizations. It urges the court to, quote, affirm a uniform principle that all couples share in the right to marry. And it also notes the inconsistent marriage laws across states.
Some of the biggest tech companies in the world want to convince the Supreme Court that gay marriage should be legal in all 50 states. Google, Facebook, Apple, and Microsoft are a few of the 379 companies that added their names to an amicus brief that says they are distinctly disadvantaged when looking to hire qualified, talented personnel in the states that do not allow same-sex couples to marry, or in asking current personnel to relocate to such states. Such an environment, the companies wrote, could also leave employees feeling isolated and fearful.
You know who delivers you, don't you? Yes. The Supreme Court? Nobody delivers you to come before God and say, we're entitled to violate every rule you've made.
Welcome back to the Ed Show. This morning, Alabama Chief Justice Roy Moore learned the Supreme Court delivers the final word. Alabama probate judges began issuing marriage licenses to same-sex couples despite Moore's last-minute attempts to stop them. Federal judge struck down Alabama's ban on same-sex marriages last month, calling it unconstitutional. The judge put her ruling on hold until today in order to give the Supreme Court time to intervene. Late Sunday night, Moore issued a letter ordering local officials to deny marriage licenses to gay couples. Moore said those who violate his order would face a reprimand by Governor Roy Bentley. It's a desperate and dramatic 11th hour move. Many were reminded, should I say, of a moment some 51 years ago. In June of 1963, Alabama Governor George Wallace stood in front of the State House door at the University of Alabama. He tried to block 2 black students from registering for classes.